Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to what is once again a very wintry Wednesday night here at Raven HQ. Obviously, on the screen, not so wintry. It is the SOP Motorsport PC EVO Challenge, brought to you in association with SimGrid. I am joined tonight in the virtual comedy box by the man himself, the founding father. It is, of course, SOP Simon. How are we doing this evening, Simon?
I am very well, thank you, John. How are you this evening?
Yeah, very good, mate. I'm wrapped up nice and warm inside. There is 3 foot of snow and a lot of stranded cars outside on my street. Let's hope we don't have the same at turn 1, because we are this evening at the very famous Cathedral of Speed. Of course, it is Monza. We're here for round 2 of the PC EVO Challenge. Round 1, of course, was at Mazzano last week. 29 drivers managed to complete what was an epic hour of racing. Lucas Tavernier took the honours there. Will he be in the Ferrari, looking to keep the Tifosi happy this week? We shall indeed find out. As I said, it is the PC EVO Challenge. It is a 4-week competition. We still have the Nürburgring and Imola to come, you lucky, lucky, lucky people. We'll hope you're looking forward to that as much as we are. As I said, I'm joined in the box tonight by Simon, the founding father of SOP Motorsport. It must be great, Simon, to see the PC guys getting their crack on the screen tonight, especially at a course like Monza.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And obviously, earlier on in the week, we had, oh no, it's tonight actually, isn't it? We've also got the PlayStation series at Monza tonight. So we've got the PlayStation and the PC guys all battling it around the Monza circuit, so it's going to be a spectacular one to watch.
Yeah, really is. Okay, if you bear with us 2 seconds, folks, we're having what can only be described now as some of Uncle Raven's now infamous technical issues. So bear with us a second or two while we just fix out some sound. I need to quickly figure out how to get, there we go, back to that screen. Now. And there we go, I do believe we are now back in the game. So, welcome back. And I see no one went anyplace here. We are back. I do apologise. We were having some sound issues, as you know, so there was a bit of crackling there. What we're not having, though, as you can see, is crackling with these beautiful pictures. Of course, tonight it is the Cathedral of Speed itself, Autodroma Nazionale Monza in the Via Vedano. It is, of course, 2 point. Oh, of course, it is, of course, one of the most famous stretches of tarmac in motorsport history, and the famous home of the Ferrari Tifosi. To say they are some of the most passionate motorsport fans in the world would be somewhat of an understatement. Of course, one of the most famous things about Monza, if you are a race driver or race fan, it is, of course, turn 1, Simon. That is a harem-scarum corner built only for the brave. And lap 1, turn 1, you reckon tonight we could see some real close quarters action, especially with 30 drivers on the grid?
Yeah, it's certainly a jam-packed grid, John, and those guys barreling down into turn 1 is they got to be very, very cautious heading into that turn 1. It can all go wrong for the guys if they just back up into one another. We saw it slightly at Mazzano, didn't we? One of the guys just in mid-pack just caught his brakes, and that just caused a bit of a pileup behind him, and we saw a couple of Mercedes veer off onto the grass. So hopefully we don't see such things here at Monza.
Indeed, and that is the thing with Monza. Those turn 1 antics, mistakes, they are magnified tenfold because of the nature of the Monza corner. It is an absolute flat out, one of the heaviest braking zones, certainly on the F1 calendar, and I'd imagine it's one of the severest on the GT3 calendar as well, as we see some of the guys out on track. We are, of course, this evening at Monza. It is the EVO Challenge, which means for your viewing delectation this evening, we have, of course, the Mercedes-AMG 2020 EVO Edition, and of course we have the Ferrari. We're going to jump over and give you a lap provided to us this evening by Ellison. Still not being able to pronounce that, but here we go, coming just out of the parabolic, coming along the world famous start finish straight. Of course, coming into turn one, as I said before, this is one of the heaviest braking zones you will enter, somewhere in around the 150 mark and beyond. Heavy on the brakes. You want to maximise the corner on the left to get the turn in to the right, throw the car back across and get the foot down as quickly as possible, catching as much curb there as he can, coming along the curve at Blasona into Seconda Variante, which is of course the second hairpin. Absolute stunning scenery of the greenery as we come round here into the second hairpin. Heavy once again on the brakes, again maximising the opposite side of the corner to get a clean line through and a quick takeoff into the first Lesmo. Very tight right-hander, need to keep it again very smooth, very tight to the curve, use as much of the runoff as we can into the second Lesmo to take him with a nice long firm run along the Curva de Serragilo. Always one I have difficulty pronouncing, and it's definitely one drivers could have difficulty with this evening. If you come out that second Lesmo anything but perfect, it can really hamper your run along here coming into Ascari, which is absolutely vital. Again, cut as much curb as you can, right and left, bit of a wiggle on the back of the car, but cut of the curb on the exit, riding the curb on the right hand side, leaving Ascari, coming along to the Curva Parabolica. A very tricky and deceiving corner this. You really need to be as far left as you can to maximise your time on the curb and get your foot down as early as possible. Push the car out wide, or certainly I normally push the car out wide, so that's probably where I'm losing some significant time, as we see Aleric come across the line in 1 minute 53, so a very, very respectably quick time there in the Ferrari, one of the cars on show tonight here. And Simon, for yourself, I know that you haven't taken part in the competition, unfortunately, even though you got much ribbing in the staff room for it. If you were to be taking part in this competition, which of these two magnificent beasts would you be using to career around the track?
Well, my preferred Evo car is the Mercedes AMG EVO 2020. That's what I used last week in a 2.4 hour race, and that's my go-to car right now. I particularly haven't driven the Ferrari that much, so I'm unfamiliar with it, but I do know how fast the Mercedes-Benz is in these final three circuits that are on the calendar. I know the Ferrari was the favourite at Misano, and well, it's going to be a challenge to keep the Mercedes at bay in these final three rounds.
Yes, it really, really is. And in the first round, as you say, the Ferrari definitely was the dominant car. Luca Taverni won, of course, in a Ferrari. It was Ferrari that took the top 5 positions. Samir Foch, in fact, Sir Foch, as I'm sure a lot of people know on Twitch, he took second place, with Christian Malcherek took third. Daniel Jose Georges, who had a quite fantastic race, he managed to get back up and finish in 4th, with Kenny Millard finishing in 5th position. With the top Mercedes finisher being actually Lee King. And we seem to have temporarily lost Simon. We'll get it back. Well done. So Alex Phillips, of course, AJ to the P. I didn't realise, for my sins, commentated on the man several times, I actually didn't realise it was AJ to the P. Of course, Alex Phillips put in an absolutely heroic performance to get the 6 and start the break on the Ferrari dominance. Lee King McGee, as I was told several times in the chat, he finished in 7th, for Mike Hall finishing in 8th. Chris Jones was in 9th. TSR, GT Welsh, of course, and Sean Buck finishing in 10th position. So we are about to start qualification, and as Simon was saying, it will be difficult for these cars this week to keep one another at bay. This track is such a high speed track. There will be a lot. There is a lot of slipstream to be had, especially during qualifying. So will we see the guys try and make the most of that? There is certainly during the Formula One much toing, froing, umming and ahhing over the whole slipstream affair, shall we call it, during qualifying. No one's ever quite sure who's doing what and when. So will we see the guys try and take advantage of that? Speaking of the guys getting involved, are you getting involved in the chat? Are you enjoying the programme? Say hello, say hello. Of course, we are brought to you once again by SimGrid. Let me remember to push that button while I'm trying to make everything else work. I'm just looking at the timing deltas here to see what we've got going on with the guys on track. They are, of course, setting their outlaps. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Let me know, more importantly, how is the weather where you are? Sounds random, but as I say, I am buried under 3 foot of snow. Went out today, dug my driveway, and 20 minutes later it was white again. There has been several cars spinning, so let's hope we don't see on track tonight what I've been looking at outside my window tonight, because it has been excellent fun. Let me just quickly... There we go, let us do that. So yep, say hello in the chat, thanks for tuning in. And welcome along. I see we did have Simon joining us this evening, but he has had some problems with his microphone, so he has been removed by virtual security until we get that one sorted out. So jump in, say hi. Did anyone take part? Did anyone watch Monday, by the way? We had a great race on Monday night. We had the Invitational EVO Challenge with some of the pros involved. It was a great race. Yeah, there we go. I'm getting caught up with the chat now. For some reason my chat hasn't been catching up either, so we're going to put this one down to the wintry weather, I think. As I say, there is a mountain of snow outside. There's certainly not any snow on the track for these 29 drivers, I believe. I'm just going to very quickly... There we go, yes. So there we go, I've changed that. I've taken off push to talk. There we go, look at that. Uncle Raven is a grown-up. He's learned to push his own buttons and everything. Who'd have thought we'd see the day all those weeks ago? So here we go. Oh, we've got Simon back in the channel. We've got the guys still up on track. They are going to be popping in any second now with their first 5 laps. To see AJ to the P come through. Who do we think will win this week then, ladies and gentlemen? It was, of course, as I said, absolute Ferrari dominance last week, taking the top 5 places, and it took one of SOP's famous sons, AJ to the P, of course, Indigo Lime Racing's very own AJ to the P. I'm sure Baggy will be in the chat, but it took the wrestling of him with his Mercedes to take the top dominance from Ferrari last week, and he only managed 6th. Will we see a repeat of that this week? Which car will be the most dominant? Like we need to ask, which car? Will it be the Italian Ferrari, or will it be the German Mercedes? That'll certainly be an interesting one. Look at Taverny then. We can't expect Luca to be quick. He has purpled Sector 1, but then... Oh, so is Christian Malchidek. So Christian Malchidek has just gone quicker. And we see the Ferrari sneaking up. We've got a couple of Mercedes popping up there as well. So the guys are starting to put in some starter lap times, finding their way around, of course shedding a bit of fuel. They do have a 15-minute qualifying session, so they'll probably come out with enough to do 3 to 4 laps. It'll take a couple of laps to get the tyres exactly where they want them, get the fuel burned down a bit, look to find which parts of the track are rubbered in better, get that line just perfected, squeeze every last millisecond out of the track, and look to put yourself someplace up near the front of the grid. Let me just check. Do we have Simon back in the commentary booth with us?
I believe you do, John. I think I'm loud and clear now.
Yes, indeed you are. Look at that. As clear as the pictures that we're getting at the moment from the bonnet of Chris Jones's Mercedes AMG. So again, Simon, it looks like you were just touching on that before someone started hoovering in the background. That's certainly what it sounded like. Look at Taverny though, won the first event, is back on pole position, and he has, I'm looking at the sector times, he is absolutely lighting up the sector boards, particularly in sector 1, so he could be definitely straight off the bat one to watch tonight, Simon.
Yeah, so you can see Chris and Alex, they're both near the front of the field, as is Astor Burger, so he's popped up in 4th place. The Ferrari dominance isn't quite there as of yet. There's only 3. The top 2 guys featured very heavily at the front of the grid in round number 1. They're featuring again here at round number 2, but the Mercedes are definitely giving it to them.
Yeah, they're definitely keeping them a lot more honest up there. As I say, it was 5 or 6 cars that finished at the top of the last race. Ferrari, yeah, all the way down to 5th place before the Mercedes started popping up, but they did pop up nice and strong. As you mentioned there, Chris, he finished in 9th in the race in Mercedes. Alex, of course, AJ, finished in 6th with King McGee in 7th and Michael Hole in 8th. Sean Buck, of course, in 10th, was also in a Mercedes, and it wasn't until Luca Ziege, of course, Kylo Ren, down in 11th place, the next placed Ferrari outside the top 10. So we'll certainly see a shake-up in the points tonight, as we see a couple of the guys getting slightly over-ambitious, maybe slightly overusing that slipstream that we were talking about. One tries to catch one slipstream, one accidentally lifts to let the other car pass, and yeah, there's all kinds of cars being slowed down left and right. Who have we got in the chat? We've got Baggy in the chat. Good evening. I did think he'd be along. Any guesses who Baggy's cheering for this evening, Simon?
Well, we know he's going to be his Indigo Lime racing partner, Alex Phillips, isn't it? So he's down in 10th now, so he has dropped down the field down into 10th, so we're sure to see him back out in this qualifying session to try and get himself back up further at the front of the field. Yeah,
he does seem to be leaving a bit of time in Sector 3 at the moment, so maybe some problems with the Ascari or Parabolica. To be fair, from what I saw when you were driving that Mercedes, I was involved in the race you two were involved in. I was in the Ferrari, and inexplicably you were able to lap me at a couple of points during the race. Thanks to pit stops, I'm going to hasten to pretend, was the only reason. But the way that Mercedes can munch curbs is quite phenomenal, Simon. So you think going through Ascari, that is absolutely Mercedes territory.
Well, you'd think all the curbs around Monza is Mercedes territory.
Well, yeah, to be fair, yeah.
So far, the Ferraris are riding those curbs quite well.
Yeah, they really are. We're on board as I say. Sir Foch, of course, well known to all his Twitch followers. I'm sure they'll all be keenly watching him tonight, cheering him on. He's just coming round to complete a lap, a very quick lap as well. He is putting in decent times in, and he is looking to sit about a 10th up. Can he carry this over the line? This would see him move up a couple of positions. It is very tight at the top, crosses the line and doesn't improve on his position there though, so stays in 9th position at the moment. Having a look down the timing boards, we've got some of the guys down at the bottom still looking to improve. Sector 1, of course, that turn 1 is absolutely vital, as is turn 2, but it really can absolutely make or break your lap. Not only the entrance speed that you carry, but vitally, of course, the exit speed as you're coming along the curve at Blassono into the second chicane. It really is vital. It looks like a couple of the guys could be struggling with that based on the Sector 1 times that they're putting in at the moment. Sector 2 seems to be pretty even, so the Lesmos certainly not proving many problems for our drivers tonight. And of course the separating factor, Parabolica. We have at the moment. I'm just looking, of course. Look at Tavernier still in first place with Malcherek in second and Battenberg in third. So we have King Mage down and Sir Fox down in 10th. We've got, and a big move there by, how is that screen up? Yeah, big screen by Luca, he's up as well, so it's all changed at the moment. 4 minutes to go, a lot of cars piling up now, queuing up, looking to use, as I said, the slipstream. And he's looking to get the job done as well. They are bunching up, as I said, they're coming in through Ascari. We're on board with Chris Jones. He is almost half a second up on his lap. This would do him the world of good as far as qualifying. Looking to carry that through the chicane in Ascari, of course, not the easiest thing to do. It's very easy to see your sector time green. Get a quick rush of blood to the head, try and slightly overcook it and drop a couple of tenths as you're coming through. And he comes through Parabolica, looking to carry again as much speed as he can, runs as wide as possible to get the foot down. But he is looking to carry as much of that half a second as he can across the line, and he jumps up to 4th place, so 3 minutes to go. He's up, and there we go, Daniel Jose Georges finished in a very respectable top 5 position last week, finds himself on the front row with 3 minutes to go. So these guys really putting in some serious times at the moment. We've got Karsten Holst, who's on an absolute flyer at the moment. Of course, finished very high last week. Looking to do the same again this week as he comes up along through Ascari. Runs himself a bit wide there. And that's Sir Fox, jumped back into the grid. So Tavernier is in pole position with 2 minutes and 50 to go. We do have Ferrari on the top 3. Battenberg is in 5th. I know we've just had a Mercedes. Attenbangye, has just taken 3rd place. So it is all changed. Simon, this is exactly what you love to see at the Cathedral of Speed. Only 2 minutes left to go in qualifying. And the cars are changing position quicker than I can keep a track on either screen here. This is immense stuff.
Yeah, it is fantastic, John. King McGee now, he's half a second up right now, and he's 7 tenths as he crosses the line. He goes 5th, so these Mercedes are trying their hardest to split these Ferraris. I don't think anybody's going to get close to Tavernari. He's half a second ahead of the rest of the field, which is just absolutely phenomenal around here.
Yeah, that really is. Given the calibre of the drivers that we've got for you on display tonight, ladies and gents, that really is an absolutely epic shift he's putting in at the moment. We've just had another mover and shaker as well, but we've got Daniel Jose Georges, of course. He's looking to break that at the top, and he go quicker? Does go quicker, but not quite enough. So gets himself to within 3 tenths. Malcherek sitting in 3rd at the moment. The gap 6 tenths off as well. So we've got Astaburega. I really do struggle with that name, Simon. I'm not going to lie. There's not many that I struggle with, but Astaburega, he's certainly not struggling with the track. Looking to put himself more time in the bank. Can he get himself onto the front row? No, he can't. We've got King Mage. He is having himself a wonderful low time in Sector 2. He's struggling to carry it through Sector 3, though. 2 tenths up at the moment. Can he keep it tight and clean through Ascari? Get that 2 seconds, keep it in his pocket and bring it home. It would, of course, take him up to 4th position ahead of Malcherek. So he'll be looking to overtake Malcherek, and he is gaining more time. So he really did nail Ascari this time. Coming into Parabolica, looking to keep the car flat and smooth, get the foot down as evenly as possible, get as wide an exit, get as much exit speed as he can as he hurtles towards the start-finish line, and he is looking good, and he jumps to 3rd place. So he did hold on to that time there, so fantastically well done. Omar's looking 9 tenths up, so there we go. Omar, 9 tenths, he's just made up, jumps up to 28th place. So this really is a strong field we are dealing with at the moment. I don't think my timing is updating as quickly as it should be, but thankfully we've got Mike in my ear keeping me right, and not only keeping me right, but displaying these wonderful pictures to us, of course, on behalf of SimGrid, who are kindly hosting this event for us here at SOP Motorsport, and they really do a fantastic job, don't they, Simon?
Yeah, John, they are doing a fantastic job. Mike's broadcasting skills are some of the best around, and I just wanted to mention that these cars are running 2x2 right now, right back to 12th place, and then you've got Sir Foch, who's the biggest loser, I would say, in this qualifying session, because he's down in 13th place. He's still on the flying lap, I believe, but the man who finished second place in round number 1 at Misano finds himself down in 13th place. He's 2/10 up, but that's still going to put him a whole second down off these top 10 guys. So unless he can pull something out of the bag in this final sector, he's going to find himself outside of the top 10.
Yeah, he really is. He's coming along, getting himself some slipstream from the Ferrari in front. So Alex Phillips, then, as you mentioned, down in 12th. Sir Foch then coming round the Parabolica, looking to finish out his lap. It looks like that's Alex behind him in the Mercedes. Can Sir Foch carry any more pace? He does find more space, but as you said, Simon, not a lot of space. Finds himself in 12th position, so a bit of a surprise there. Did not expect that to be the case, certainly. Let's just get this on screen. Something I think a lot of us did expect. Oh, Luca Tavernere finds himself pole position, 1:47.250, a quite phenomenal lap time to put in there. Of course, does have a 2:08, but that would have been discounted for track limits. Daniel Jose George then putting in another sterling performance in qualifying. Can he keep it up for the race again? Fingers crossed. He's in second place. King McGee, sorry, I will get that right one of these days, is in third, with Asta Borrega in fourth, and Malcherek in fifth. Battenberg in sixth, Chris Jones in seventh, Karsten Hatch in eighth, with Kenny Millard and Luca Ziege making up the fifth row of the grid in ninth and 10th, Philip Babalul in 11th, and Samir Foch, as we mentioned, down in 12th, and Alex Phillips, a surprise for me there, down in 13th place. Preston Lambrecht, Sean Buck, Jean Pascal Plotz, Adam O'Neill and Michael Hole make up 14 through to 18, with Stefan Van Hal and Shane Klovanovsky, a new name to the competition, in 19th and 20th. So some surprises there, Simon, and some not so surprises there, with Tavernane wrapping up, but Phillips and Sir Foch out of position. We could see some serious racing going on here as these guys try to get themselves back into position.
Yeah, I mean, did we expect anything less from the top 3 guys there? They were the class of the field, and all those guys behind now, they've got all the catching to do. I mean, there's a lot of slipstream to be had around Monza, so it's all to play for on these first couple of laps.
Yep, it really is. It really is. And when you talk about the first couple of laps, if there's one thing that is more famous than the Tifosi at Monza, it is turn 1 at Monza. So we can expect to see, well, as we were saying before, Simon, turn 1, often, even with a rolling start, you will see a bit of a coming together, the odd gentle tap. But at Monza turn 1, that effect seems to be magnified tenfold, just because the corner is so high speed with such a heavy braking zone. And in some of these cars, if you're not nice and clean and smooth on and off your brakes, it can certainly unsettle them and send you and several drivers off into the world famous shadow realm.
Yeah, I'm always apprehensive about turn 1 at Monza, and I always tend to say what they should do is sort of treat turn 1 as another formation lap. You know, just stay in formation. Don't try and come barreling past anybody on the outside or the inside and wipe out half the field. Just stay in formation, negotiate turn 1, and then get on with the racing, because there's going to be plenty of opportunities to overtake.
There is indeed. I was just saying hi to, I was just going to say a quick hi to everyone in the chat. That's right, Shane. I did very almost got your last name right. I will try once again. Shane Klovanovsky. I hope that's good. Kane Dinham's in the chat. How are we doing, Kane? Welcome along. Selfish Fish Foch is pronounced Bosch. Ah, Foch. Sir Foch, of course. Bosch was on an invalidated lap. Okay. So that's pronounced Foch. Say hi in the chat. Who do we think is going to win? We're doing the grid walk at the moment, having a look at the cars we've got qualified. 20. How many do we have this evening? We have 32 drivers on track, split nice and evenly between the EVO AMG 2020. That's the bit you repeat, the 2020 bit, and of course the Ferrari 488 2020. As you can see, the front of the cars, if you have a look at those Ferraris and the Mercedes, the front bumpers on these cars are what has been predominantly changed with these cars. A few bits and pieces with the electronics inside, but certainly an aerodynamic overhaul is what both of these cars receive, and it's definitely been to their benefit, Simon. Both of them, I've personally driven the Ferrari, you've personally driven the Mercedes, and I think both of us would agree, fabulous cars to drive.
Yeah, I think all that's left to do now is get these cars around the new British GT DLC that's dropped on the PC today.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Simon, don't tease us. Do we have an event in the comings? Let's hope so.
So, John, before the session starts, who's your money on for the race win? Is Tavanari going to run away with it again and finish 20 seconds ahead of the field, or is Jose George and King McGee going to take it to him?
I am going to throw my hat on two drivers to watch. I don't know who's going to win. Is Tavanari going to get away? It's hard to say through turn one. I think King McGee can make a move in turn one. I think Asa Barrega's got a great line going into turn one. I think those two guys can certainly cause problems. I think Sir Foch and Alex Phillips down in 12th and 13th. I think with the way Monza works with slipstream, with turn one, I think those two guys are absolutely going to be two guys to watch. And also, worth a more than honourable mention, Sam Su and Horace Solcrum down in 21st and 22nd. Horace, of course, homeschool racer, made it from 26th or 29th last week up to 14th place. So he made up 15th place, and so did Sam, of course, TSR, Wake, a couple of our SOP regulars. So even down at the back of the pack, these guys making moves and fighting hard to get themselves up the grid. What do you think, Simon? As they're on their formation lap, we've got about 2/3 of the lap to go. Who do you reckon is going to take the gold tonight?
Well, it is hard to bet against Tavanari for taking another win. It'd be nice to see him challenged here around Monza. It all depends how many of these drivers can stay within each other's slipstreams, and it all depends when these drivers come in for their one mandatory stop, because you can gain a lot of undercut time in the pit stop window as long as you're within those first few seconds of the drivers in front of you. I mean, if Tavanari pulls away, he's got that clean air in front of him, he's got no worries whatsoever. If Jose George or King McGee can get their nose in front through turn one, it's all to play for. Let's wait and find out, John.
Yes, and I certainly can't wait to find out as we see our pole sitter and championship leader, of course, the PC EVO Challenge, brought to you by SOP Motorsports, brought to you by SimGrid. On behalf of us here at SOP Motorsport, Mike, of course, doing the camera work, bringing some stunning shots of the guys on their warm-up lap, coming along through the Lesmos and the Curva del Saraglia. I hope I'm doing that justice. And there we go, my picture's just taken a little second to catch up. There we go. And we've got Boychuk, there we go, in 30. So 32 drivers we have. We see at the bottom of the list here, P. McKenna. This is how easy it is. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, he was watching one of the SOP streams on Twitch. Signed up that night, and here he is taking part in the second race of his first ever event. So, big shout out to you, Paul. Thank you for being a man of your word and sticking by that. Did genuinely find us along, joined in one of the community races, loved it that much on the PlayStation. He signed up to take part in a PC event, and that's how easy it is, Simon, isn't it? Very easy. Sign up on Discord, join in, and this could be you. Absolutely loving it on track with 32 guys. Can't wait for them to get round Parabolic and get started, Simon.
Yeah, we're just waiting for these guys to fall into formation now. We can see the guys sorting themselves out just behind the mid-pack, we will ride on board with Jose George to take us around the start of this race. We're going to see who gets the whole shot into turn 1. I'll let you take the lead as we see these drivers negotiate the turn 1 here at Monza.
And it really will be, and I do love the way you use the word negotiate. That is certainly how this is going to play out for a lot of these drivers. It will be a negotiation tactic as they roll up at their mandatory rolling speed, and they are go. I wasn't paying yet, so they are gone. So Tavernier, and I tell you what, Jorge has got a great lead there. George has just got his nose out in front. He is going to challenge around the outside, but Tavernier, of course, with the preferred line on the apex, the two of them. Absolutely enough room left. A bit of a lock-up on the brakes here. The two of them running side by side. They are 2x2 through turn 1. We've got a little bit of contact in the background. They're only involving 3 cars though. So only 3 cars involved, and they're all moving again as we see Tavernier take the lead back again from Jose George. So the two of them challenging side by side and as respectfully as can be, with them now 3 wide in the background. There's a whole lot of Mercedes and Ferrari action in the background behind our race leaders. We've got some action in the middle. We've got some moves being made. Alex Phillips here making the move through the second chicane, getting the job done there as a Tavernier is certainly getting the moves done. He is taking off from Jose Georges then, who is leaving behind King McGee. So King McGee then is the cork in the bottle with a lot of Asperger, Marcharek and Battenberg behind them. Millard, Jones, Sir Foch, I did mention at the start, was down in 11th, finds himself in 9th place. So he's made a couple of moves at the start, and Ziga making up the top 10. This has been quite a fascinating opening lap. There was a small contact in the first chicane. It didn't come to much. All the drivers got going again. We've seen a little contact again at the back. We've seen Alex Phillip making moves. He's in 13th. We've seen Sir Foch making moves. Georges looked like he was going to get the move done in turn 1, Simon, but Tavernier fended him off and is hanging on to the lead of the race.
Yeah, I tell you what, John, it seems those Ferraris have really mugged off the Mercedes in that opening lap, because you see 7 Ferraris in the top 10 all of a sudden. Like you said, Foch has made up a number of places. He only qualified in 12 places, found himself up in the 9th. He's looking to make a move up the inside of Chris now. Down the front straight they go. Who's going to be the later breaker? Who's going to have the better line into turn 2? Round the chicane they go. We will ride on board with Chris and Foch as Chris negotiates turn 1 that better. He's got a better drive out. There we go. We see him take the lead then from Foch. That's fantastic racing as we see a replay from these drivers piling up.
Oh no, so this is live.
This
is live. So lap 2, yeah, lap 2. So there we go. After us saying how fantastically well the drivers had done in turn 1, lap 1, 2 is when it all played out. So yes, so some big contact there. It's going to cost some people some places. It's also going to gain some drivers some places, which is going to make the end of the race very interesting. It may also force some hands. As you can see on the screen, ladies and gents, next to the drivers' names they have a little orange bar with the number 1. That is to signify they have a mandatory pit stop to take, as we have a Mercedes.
Oh, that looks like King McGee.
King McGee out the Lesmos. So King McGee will tumble down the order. That is not the position he wants to find himself in. So Tavernier and Jose Georges will be having this all their own way. We jump on board with Bertoglio in 22nd place. He is a lone Ferrari in a sea of Mercedes down there. There is a Ferrari up in 10th position. And back down to 26th, he's absolutely being swamped by the Mercedes drivers at the moment. Hangs on to go around the outside, and the other Ferraris actually caught up. So they're now 2 Ferraris side by side through Ascari. One runs wide, one runs left. Avoid contact, and here we go, 2 by side. So there we go, 4 Mercedes and then 4 Ferrari, Simon. So these cars really are bunching together for this race. This is some pretty amazing stuff here.
Yeah, these drivers now just need to settle themselves down and get into a rhythm, because it's been a scrappy opening 2 laps, and yeah, I don't know what to say about that one. These drivers have been a bit eager on the throttle, should we say, and there's been quite a few offs and accidents and collisions in these opening 2 laps, which we don't like to see. So hopefully they can settle themselves down and find a rhythm and get some racing under their belts. As we just see the Ferrari lose his braking.
Oh, Bertoglio, yeah, completely missed He's turn one there, so certainly the adrenaline of being at the cathedral of speed going to a few of the drivers' heads. Someone whose head it hasn't gone to is, of course, Sir Foch, up into 8th place now. I did mention before the race he would be one to watch, even if we did expect Tavernari, Georges and McGee to run off with it. I did expect Sir Foch and Alex Phillips to both be making moves. Alex has made himself up a couple of places. Sir Foch, of course, has made himself a very respectable 4 places up the field, and he is not far. In fact, he has taken 7th place. He has taken 7th place. Yes.
The man who's tumbling down the order is Astor Baruga. He's dropped down to 14th place in his Mercedes-Benz, and all of a sudden, the top 8 accompanied by 7 Ferraris. So we are having a replay of the start here. So yeah, we'll see how messy it was into turn 1 these drivers got.
Yeah, to say it gets messy, it is an understatement in turn 1. The slipstream really will catch you out. You really do need to be braking at least 30 to 40 metres extra. Oh, we've got a Mercedes catches the grass. We've got a Ferrari catches the grass, comes back on, rear ends, and there's the concertina effect. So the red and yellow Ferrari that eventually gets spun, looked like he caught the grass. Concertina, and there was indeed quite a few cars caught up in that, so quite a few cars lost places. But yeah, that was a bit of a harem-scarer, but I'm looking at that and I'm thinking we're going off to agree, Simon. That was perhaps the Ferrari in the red and yellow, a bit eager coming back on with dirty tyres, causing a concertina effect, and that's never going to end well in a chicane, let alone the chicane at Monza.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just so many cars trying to negotiate turn 1. It's such a tight turn. Like we said, everyone just backs up into each other. One person makes a mistake, and then you're finding a whole host of drivers caught out in that accident.
And here we're going to have a look then at the beginning of lap 2. As we said, at the lap 2 there was the 4 Mercedes. We have another in the yellow Ferrari, so he is not having the best of nights this evening in turn 1 at Monza. He obviously read the script about turn 1 being a nightmare and decided he was going to wholeheartedly embrace that in his Ferrari. So the Tifosi, I'm not sure, will be too happy at the way he's particularly treating that Ferrari this evening, Simon. But yeah, he's certainly making a meal of turn 1 this evening.
Yeah, I tell you what, these front 10 drivers, all they've had to do is keep their nose clean, and they found themselves in the top 10. Alex Phillips, Lambrecht, Ziege, Foch, Jones, Malad, Battenberg, Malcherek, Jose and Tavernari. So they're your top 10 right now.
And as you said, a very comfortable top 10, and I'm going to be honest, I'm quite surprised, of course. The 26 Ferrari is Stefan Van Hal, well known as Stefan VH to SOP viewers, does very well in the Pro Series and in the Endurance, so not quite getting to grips with the slipstream into turn 1 here at Monza this evening, it would seem. We are on board with Battenberg, watching him battling it out with Malcherek for the podium position, which King McGee is now no longer in possession of. He was up in 3rd place, finds himself down in 11th with, as I say, Malcherek and Battenberg fighting over his leftovers with Sir Foch now. I do love it when I'm right, Simon. It's not often. Anyone that watches us on Twitch will know that Uncle Double O Raven as a commentator doesn't often get his predictions right, but Sir Foch is up to 6th place now, Simon. To say he's a man on a charge would be somewhat of an understatement.
Oh, we got a spinner, the number 199, Battenberg's round.
Battenberg spun.
As I was just about to mention, Foch has really not had to do anything drastic to find himself up into 6th place. As yeah, we're just riding on board with Battenberg, so he's just missed out, then he's just lost out, and he's going to be tumbling back down the order. Then he's got Mercedes look to move up the inside of him.
Yeah, he's now finding himself in the same problem that Ferrari had earlier. He has been ganged up on. So these Mercedes certainly hunting in packs tonight in Simon. And Stefan there almost involved again. Another wiggle with the gang, completely loses the back coming through Ascari, and I can tell you, Simon, that is one of the most common mistakes to make on this entire track, never mind that corner, and it's certainly between turn 1 and Ascari. It certainly seems to be a graveyard for the drivers tonight. Top 10 guys then, as you said: Battenberg, Hayes, Lambrecht, Ziege, Jones, Sir Foch, Simon up to 5th place. I feel like jumping on the table and shouting, I told you so. Alex Phillips, though, has tumbled off our screens.
Yeah, he made a pit stop.
So he has made his pit stop. I was just about to check. So what I'm going to do is quickly... Yes, let's see. So yes, he pitted on lap 4. So, interesting strategy there from Alex. We'll see how that plays out for him, if he can get the undercut. But Georges is absolutely not leaving Tavernari alone. The two of them very close to one another in front, as you see. Another Ferrari. Battenberg, that was the mistake that Battenberg made coming through Ascari, and again Ascari, Simon. That is absolutely someplace where you need to carry as much momentum as possible, but very, very, very easy to get it wrong. And ironically, it's always the left-hand wall that you end up on. You'd think you would end up running wide on the right, but not very often you run wide. It's often the rear end kicking back round and sending you in the opposite direction straight into that left-hand wall, and that's, oh, and there's a bit of contact and a run wide there. Babalul then looking to get involved, coming through the Parabolica. Not often the wisest move, maybe better to leave it until the start-finish straight, get some slipstream. So he going to find himself with some gritted up tyres and a whole lot of slipstream going into turn 1. Will he make the correct consideration? Does, absolutely beautifully breaks that in there. Gets a great line, rides that sausage skirt, unbalances his car, and there again, Simon, it's the little things that can cost you so much time, and that was illustrated beautifully there by Babalul, who was all over the back of King McGee there, and now finds himself dropping off just with that simple miscalculation of catching just a little bit too much curb on the exit of turn 1.
Yeah, we talked earlier about the Mercedes being so much better than the Ferrari over the curbs, and I think both cars are just struggling right now at Monza. I think the Ferraris have been caught out, and the Mercedes have been caught out with these curbs around Monza this afternoon. So
you see Stefan getting the move done, absolute textbook. So he might not be looking too hot in the first chicane, but certainly absolutely getting the move done in the second chicane there to find himself a place further back up the grid. So looking to clear his arrears, so to speak. Stefan still down in 18th, Boychuk in 17th. We've got Solkrum in 16th, with Lygrestin, who is new this week, is in 15th. We've jumped back board with Stefan, who's still battling away, and he has got the move done. So he is moving back past, so he will make up that position. Sir Foch, though, the big mover, Simon, we mentioned him and Alex Phillips. Alex, of course, has made his pit stop. He has come back out and finds himself down in 30th, but he has pitted, so he is the lead driver to have pitted, so we'll see where the pits. But Sir Foch, certainly, as we said, qualified in 11th or 12th, and he finds himself up in 5th, and as you were saying, he hasn't had much to do, thanks to turn 1 and Ascari wiping out most of his competition.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just the status quo from what we saw at Misano. I think the top 5 Ferraris here at Monza are the top 5 Ferraris that we saw at Misano, be it all in different positions at the moment. But it's a top 5 lockout from Ferrari once again.
Yeah, it really is. They really are proving to be the dominant car at these two tracks. As you said, we've got Nürburgring, or as I was saying, we've got Nürburgring and Imola to come. As you said, the Ferrari dominance will certainly not be in effect at those two tracks, so it will certainly be interesting to see just how far off the pace the Ferraris are at Imola. It will be interesting to see, because of course Lucas Tavernari, there is no doubt that man is seriously quick. And Sir Foch is up to 4th, Simon. He's up to 4th, place, so he's got the job done on Millard, looking to catch up on Malchirek now. Could we see Forch get himself onto the podium? The Ferrari definitely proven to be an absolute monster, especially in Sir Forch's hands here.
Yeah, he's got a bit of time to make up now. He's almost 3 seconds behind Malchirek, and he hasn't got that benefit of having the slipstream behind Millard, which he did have a few laps ago. So I know he's got that clean air in front of him. It's just going to be just how much pace he actually has in his pocket to close up the gap to Malchirek now. I know those two guys ran very close together at Misano. They finished second and third, and there wasn't very much to separate those guys. So we're riding on board with Hash now, looking for a move on Battenberg and Lambrecht, is it? Those guys battling together over 8th, 9th and 10th?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah, Ziga, Lambrecht and Hayes. We've got a bit of a wiggle in the back of the chicane. Oh, bit of contact between Lambrecht and Hayes, and that is Battenberg, yes. In the background, looking to go 3 wide, thinks better of it. Lets the two drivers go 2 wide. They do resolve into a processional fashion through the second chicane as they come into the Lesmos. The cars in arrears here, in the rear spoiler of Hayes, will be looking to get close enough coming through the second Lesmo to get along this back straight and potentially make the most of some of the famous. Oh, we see a wiggle there from Lambrecht in the Ferrari, so he's going to draw in the Mercedes, so he's going to drop off and himself in the clutches of the Ferrari sooner rather than later, I would say. Coming into Ascari, this is going to be an interesting decision for the Ferrari driver. Holds his line, stays tucked in beside. Will he try to get a move done here? All 3 cars do cleanly get through Ascari this time. No one veering off wildly to the left to ruin their race and their virtual engineer's day.
Yeah, well, Battenberg won't want to make any more mistakes now.
Sorry, coming into Ascari there, we're watching Stefan making another move there. So looking to more than make amends for the mistakes he had into the turn 1 chicane earlier in the race, getting the move done going through Ascari, and we're looking for another move here. Battenberg then side by side with Lambrecht as Hayes takes off into the distance. Battenberg definitely has the pace and the inside line, and yet Lambrecht very respectfully sees that that job was well and truly nailed on. Thinks better of it, lets the job done. As we see Sam Zhu, of course, TSR Wake in the Mercedes side by side with Homeschool Racer, the two of them coming along the start finish straight into turn 1, absolutely side by side. Stefan is moving off into the distance, rounded the outside goes Sam, so Sam gets the move done on Horace Solcrum to take 15th place. The belts will update in a second. He will now be looking to catch up onto the back of Stefan, and we could see these drivers, Simon, these little mid-packs groups with the slipstream the way it is. We could see guys like Sam, Horace and Stefan make their way back up to the pack and potentially use one another to advance their position when the pit streams play out later in the race.
Yeah, they're currently 13 seconds adrift of the next man up the field in 13th place, so they've got some catching up to do. As I've just noticed, King McGee's got a stop-go penalty, 30 seconds, so he must have been caught speeding in the pit lane, and he's not having a good showing here at round number 2 at Monza.
No, that really is, yeah, a bit of a nightmare then. He did start the race well and truly and very comfortably inside the top 5. He's found himself tumbling down, and sorry, but extra urgency in the voice. Sir Foch has come in to the pit, so the man I said to have a quick to keep an eye on before the race has got it done, he is into the pits. He's moved him, he was up to 4th place, so we'll see how the board works out for him, how the timing boards work out for him as far as his pits go. Of course, we have seen a couple of other drivers pull. Alex Phillips, of course, the other driver I did say to keep an eye on, has pitted as well. So we'll see what happens when we come out with the pits. I've just changed the wrong screen, and there we go. If you've ever wondered what it looks like strapped to the front of a Mercedes along turn 1 at Monza, tearing down on the back of a Ferrari, then there you go in all its carbon fibre coated beauty. Absolutely stunning work once again by Mike the cameraman. Just phenomenal work coming along there. It's very difficult sometimes to commentate when you have such fantastic sport on screen, Simon. And the drivers here definitely putting on a show. We've seen quite a few mistakes in the first couple of laps, but they seem to have got their heads down, getting a bit of consistency and looking to finish this race in a blaze of glory with 40 minutes to go.
Yeah, the drivers are now spreading themselves out quite evenly. They're just forming little pockets of battles between themselves. You know, you've got the front runners sticking together, the mid-pack sticking together, the rear of the field sticking together. So we've got a yellow flag on track. Who was that? I think that was 787, who was a Bulal again. Once again, the top 10 driver just found himself in some sort of problems. I'm still riding on board with Ivanusa, trying to make a move on Gantus.
Gantus,
yeah,
yes.
Gantus there in 16th place as he just gets it all wrong. Ivanusa looking for a move right round the outside then. That is fantastic. I thought he made a mistake there, John, but he just sent it right round the outside.
Yeah, he really did. Carried a lot more pace through Ascari there. I'm sure the track stewards will be waving a little flag at them. I'm sure they won't be as appreciative of that move as we will, and he will be on the receiving end of a track limits warning if he does keep that up. But we've got Babalul then. He has decided to come into the pits, and King McGee is into the pits as well to serve a stop-go penalty. So Tavernari then still comfortably leading the race, and he is comfortable now. Jose Georges has been harassing him for the first 5 or 6 laps and finds himself 2.7 seconds now in arrears to our number 1 Ferrari driver, with Malcherek and Millard in 3rd and 4th, and Jones completing the top 5th. But Ziga, as we can see, is all over the back of Jones in that Mercedes. Ferrari certainly proving to be the dominant car here once again, and Ziga is looking to use that dominance to his advantage to get past Jones as they come out of Ascari top along to what is, I mean, you say world famous, you can say world famous with every corner at this track. Let's face it, it is Monza, in existence since 1922 and very much known worldwide as the Cathedral of Speed and the home of the Tifosi. Ziga then takes his pit stop, so 23 minutes into the race, Simon, and we're seeing a lot of guys taking their pit stops, looking to get that done early and get back on the track. Very cool track temperatures, so perhaps worried the track temperature is going to cool down that much towards the end of the race, going to lose a bit of tyre pressure, which, as you and I know, can certainly be a killer on here. Legstrand, sorry, I was just about to jump on board there with yourself, but Legstrand looking to get the move done on Gantus. They're going to go side by side into Parabolica. Ooh, closes the door, leaves it open again. They are side by side, so it is going to be a drag race. Will Legstrand get back into the slipstream and look to get the move done? He is, ooh, slightly too far back, I would say, to catch the slipstream. So turn 1, he could go for a full-blown send. Will he hold his brakes and look to get it done on the Blassono curve? Yes, he does. Closes the gap up beautifully though. Absolutely excellent exit, and definitely managing that chicane there much better than Gantus. Has closed the gap right up, and will be looking to cause problems for Gantus here into the second chicane as they come around Blassono. The two cars looking flat and beautiful. Those 2020 cars really are fantastic pieces of machinery being thrown out. Oh, and he's missed the chicane completely there. And the two of them are going to go side by side, and that's absolutely going to be job done with the loss of momentum that Gantus would have had going into that corner. So Gantus there getting all kinds of out of shape, and Legreston getting the job done and looking to move himself up towards Ivanusa, who is having himself still a battle there, trying to catch up onto the back of Horace Solcrom, who's trying to catch on to the back of Sam Su with Stefan Van Hal. Of course, well known to our pro drivers and endurance drivers, as Stefan up in 11th place, looking to get into the top 10, but could be a big ask given the performance that some of our top 10 drivers have put in so far, Simon. We've got a lot more pit stops being made, Simon, so almost halfway into the race, and we've seen quite a few drivers pit. Sir Foch was in 4th when he pitted, down in 19th, so it'll be interesting to see where Jones and Battenberg come out.
Yeah, that one puzzles me, John. I'm surprised Foch came in so early, considering he was making up good ground to the guys in front of him and he was leaving the guys behind him. He's just going to find himself in some traffic ahead now, so he's got to negotiate that traffic. The guys that are ahead of him still need to pit, so they're going to be a bit slower than him now because they're on older rubber. And yeah, it's one of those things that surprised me. He's just given away his 4th place position that he was in, so the top 5 are completely away and gone in this one. I mean, the top 2 are 15 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So Maltrak's there in 3rd, and he's got Malad only 1.5 seconds further adrift. So these guys are running away with it at the front, but I was just surprised to see Foch pit so early on.
Yeah, he did. He pitted 10 laps in. I'm just checking the pit times as well. It appears that Alec Phillips has actually pitted a 2nd time. So AJ, it would appear, had some kind of issue. He has pitted twice. We've got Paul McKenna has come into the pit. So Battenberg, Jones and Ziga have all pitted. Foch is ahead of them all. Tavernari, as we mentioned, is absolutely tearing away with it. Himself and Jose Georges are battling in the high 47, low 48 lap times. Malcharek is not too far off those times as well, with Kenny Millard comfortably in 4th position at the minute. Hayes, Jones, Lambrecht, Battenberg and O'Neill all find themselves in the top 10, mostly due to errors that were made earlier on in the race by other drivers. As we said, so most of these top 10 drivers have just simply had to keep it together and keep themselves their nose clean, keep out of trouble, and have found themselves up the pack. No problem at all. We're on board again with Ligeston then, who is looking to get onto the back of Gantus. There is some blue flags. I'm assuming that's to do with the pit stop overlaps coming into turn 1. Once again, these guys are looking to close up on Ivanusa and make his life difficult when he comes out the pits. O'Neill then is in the pit, so that's quite a few drivers coming in now, Simon. Do you think we'll see anyone leave their pit stop to within the last 10 minutes or so? Or do you think most of them will have it done by, say, the halfway, 3/4 mark? We're approaching halfway now, so could we see a sudden flood of pit stops, do you think?
Well, the one I'm most interested in is to see Jose from 2nd place. If he comes in a lap or 2 earlier, he might have that pace advantage to close back upon Tavernari, so that's going to be the most interesting one. They're 17 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, so again, Malad and Malcharek, which one's going to be the first one to blink between those 2 guys? And then I think what's going to happen is you're going to see these top 10 drivers who still need to pit. They're just going to blink one after the other. They're going to see the driver ahead of them pit, and they're going to know they need to come in for their pit stop as well. Otherwise, they're just going to be losing time if they stay out on track.
Yeah, I think they are. Who do we guys in the chat think's going to win? We've got some action in the chat. We've also got some action on the screen. We've got some guys cheering on Foch. Yes, going for the pick. Foch has disadvantage now. P22 taking on the slower ones. My boy Jones fell to the end. Okay, there we go. Simpac Jimmy, hello. Thanks very much for tuning in. He's cheering on his boy Jones, right, and he has some critical rear damage. No, that's not so great. Martin Garcia is how I can compete in this type of races. Thank you. Well, with ourselves, this is an SOP race. Of course, SimGrid are hosting it for us very kindly. Well, thank you very much, Michael. We've got Mike on the cameras. We've got the founding father of SOP, that's Simon, in the commentary box with us. We are on Discord, and this is where the event was put together. This is the PC EVO Challenge. 4 weeks this event runs for. There is reserve spots, I believe, so if anyone does drop out, you could find yourself getting involved, although we've got a few guys who have mentioned that that's done. Kane there doing the job. Spartacus, hello. Selfish Fish, how you doing? Jero Cron, good evening. Craig PD, good evening, how you doing? Philip O, welcome to the stream. Spartacus, once again, hello. And Mamburu, there's a cracking handle there for you, my friend. TVS Frubo as well. Thanks for tuning in. Simpac Jimmy. We also have got Shane Klokanovsky. I'm never going to hear the end and not being able to pronounce that name, but there we go. And just as we're getting to the halfway mark, Simon, we did say I was expecting to see at least a few more people jump into the pits. That's certainly being played out now on track. Just as we come up to the 30-minute mark, we suddenly now see a lot more green than orange next to the drivers' names. The top 10 on track haven't really pitted yet. Sir Fosh, though, up to 14th, will be very, very, very interesting. And just as I say that, we'll have a look. And we have another 3 drivers, and Lucas Tavernari himself, our race leader, has pitted, and he's down in 3rd place now. So what length of pit stop? He had the same length of pit stop then as Sir Fosh, so it'll be good to see where that little battle plays out. Also, Alec Phillips has come back into the pits as well, Simon, so I fear something may have gone wrong for AJ to the P, finding himself at the moment firmly down in 31st position, 3 laps down, unfortunately, as we see Ivan Nusa, looking to get the move done. And he does. Of course, Boychuk still to take his pit stop, runs wide coming through Ascari there. So Ivanusa moving up a place. He has got his pit stop done. Solkrum, Gantus and Ligreston all in the pit. Sorry, Solkrum's not in the pits. I do apologise. He is either side. He is surrounded by guys that have pitted. So he finds himself in, at the moment, 10th position. Jones has pitted. He's up in 9th. Jose Georges leads the race still to pit. As we see a bit of Mercedes on Ferrari action, then Fosh on Jones there. Fosh getting the move done. A little bit of contact between the 2 drivers through the Lesmos, but Fosh certainly getting it done there on Jones to get himself back up to 8th place. And
I
very
think that was a
close
back
indeed
marker,
to
John,
Malcerex.
actually. I think that was a back marker Fosh was negotiating.
Oh.
It just caused him a bit of a problem.
Ah, okay. Well, in that case, I don't imagine Sir Fosh will be overly impressed with that. And we've got 2 stop-go penalties have appeared, Simon. Speeding in the pit lane, Gantus and Ligreston. So 2 of our mid-pack runners there. Falling foul of the stewards in the pit lane. So that's going to be pretty much race over for themselves. Of course, King McGee, got himself a stop-go penalty when he tried to take his pit stop early and is running it down in 23rd. So that just shows how damaging they can be. We've got someone coming out the pits now, Sir Fosh, coming into turn 1. Getting some moves done. We see a Mercedes there, missing turn 1 completely, holding his brakes and taking the escape slip road. So Sir Fosh then up into 8th place. We've got Sam has come into the pits. Horace Solkrum has come into the pits. So has Stefan as well. So the 3 guys we saw battling out earlier in the lap, in the race, sorry, they've now come into the pits. We're watching Cole on O'Neill side by side coming along the start-finish straight to complete this lap just after the half point in the race. They're going to come side by side into turn 1. A little bit of a wiggle there, and yep, he's got the job done. So Hole getting the job done in the number 15 Mercedes. Absolutely nailed his exit there. As we see Battenberg then looking to get the move done on Ziga to take back 8th place as they come through the Lesmos along the back straight. The kink left hand as they fire the cars along towards the Ascari curves. And with 26 minutes to go, Simon, Tavernari in 3rd place. Looks like he will very comfortably retake the lead when Georges and Lambrecht take their pit stops.
Yeah, well, I've seen Tavernari's just gone past the pit stop, so he's got past Lambrecht already, because Lambrecht is still in the pit. So it's just going to be Jose he needs to negotiate. So we just need to wait for those timing screens to update to see what that gap truly is, as we're riding on board with Battenberg now, and he's got a trio of Ferraris here as 1 peels off into the pits then, so 3 become 2. as they come down the pit straight as Battenberg then takes up 7th. He had that earlier off, he had that earlier spin coming through that Ascari, and he's now finding himself back up into 7th place then after dropping outside of the top 10.
Yeah, I think that is actually 8th he's in. That was Ziga that he overtook there, so the timing data has updated. I do believe, yes, it was 8th he took from Ziga there. It was the maroon Ferrari of Ziga he was chasing. They're both now chasing Lambrecht in his AMG, but he is up to 7th. So Lambrecht has dropped back. Yes.
Yeah, he was one of the final guys to come into the pits, Lambrecht.
Of course.
Yeah, he was running quite in the mid-pack, so yeah, Battenberg's found himself back into 7th place. So still, just Chris there, holding it strong for the Mercedes drivers in 6th place. He's 3 seconds adrift of Malade, and it is a top 5 lockout for the Ferraris once again. As Jose is coming out of the pits now, as Tabernari's speeding on by. So this is neck and neck for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. We're not riding on board with the drivers at the front of the field.
There we are, yeah, we are now. So that is Tavernari. So Tavernari has taken the lead into turn 1. It is very, very, very close. I can absolutely tell you that for free as we see him coming round the Blassono into the second chicane. And I'll tell you what, this Tavernari certainly isn't going to have it all his own way for the end of the race. He does find himself in the lead after the pit stops going through the second chicane, but Georges is only 2.6 seconds in arrears, and he will have, of course, fresher tyres towards the end of the race. So will that play a part in this as we watch Heish all over the back of Lambrecht then? 2 of our leading Mercedes fighting out for top 10 honours in the SOP EVO PC Challenge. It's a lot of acronyms to throw in one sentence. It's not easy making it easy. As the 2 drivers come into turn 1, gets out with the slipstream just to make it a bit easier on his braking. Looks to get a good exit. Oh, loses the back of the car ever so slightly. Doesn't quite get the traction he would have liked, and isn't going to be close enough to get a move done coming through Blassono. So yes, Simon, the start of the race was more than just a bit interesting for the first couple of laps, but the guys have certainly gotten the heads down, calmed it down, put in some pretty clean and consistent laps, and they're keeping the driving very respectful now.
Yeah, to be fair, it's been an action-packed race from the word go, and it's unfortunate for those drivers that made mistakes, that lost their cars, had accidents, had incidents, found themselves visiting the pit stops more than they should have. And once again, it just goes to show those top 5 drivers how skilled of drivers they are, because they found themselves up into the top 5 regardless of where they qualified. Foch was right outside of the top 10, and look, he's right into 4th place now, and he's going to be challenging for that podium position.
Yeah, he really is, and yeah, it's been an absolutely stunning drive. I did mention Foss before the stream. Unfortunately, my other drivers to watch was, of course, Alex Phillips, known to SOP regulars as AJ to the P. It looks like AJ has unfortunately had to retire from the race. Either that, or he drove straight into the pit wall. He's been in the pits for quite a considerable amount of time, so I don't think he will be rejoining us of the 32 drivers, but Monza certainly can be as beautiful to watch and as terrifying as it is to drive. It's Battenberg then looking to defend from Ziga in the Ferrari. We're also jumping on board with the Mercedes of O'Neill, so we've got someone missing turn 1 there. Action all over the track at the moment as we see Sam Su valiantly defending against O'Neill. Then O'Neill looking to improve his position by another place and get himself up into 13th side by side along Blassono. Gets the move done out in front. Sam then will look to cut back inside, breaks the slipstream very sensibly there. You definitely don't want to get caught in the slipstream after a move like that. Gets a much better exit though coming along towards the Lesmo, so Sam tucks back inside the sides against the dive up the inside. So fantastic driving there from Sam, of course known to many SOP followers as TSR Wake. Looking to get the job done as they come along towards Ascari, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes. I do believe, yes, so that Ferrari is of course one of the back markers. I believe that's Omar down in 20th. O'Neill then still looking to fend off Sam, who just stole the position from the two of them coming through Ascari. It is bumper to bumper. The two of them are going to have to go side by side unless Sam lifts to go through there. He does. He goes to the outside. He's left just enough room. Falls back under the rear spoiler. Looks for the cut back up the inside. The two of them are going to be side by side going along the start finish stage. So it will be a drag race. Sam falls back inside again, looking to make the most of that slipstream. And I tell you what, Simon, that really is some very clever clinical driving from Sam there to make the most of the slipstream. Goes side by side into turn one, up the inside he goes, looking to go around the outside on the turn two. And I'll tell you what, Simon, that is one of the best planned and most precision moves you're ever likely to see at Monza.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. You could see Sam was planning that one for the whole lap. You could see he was just waiting to get that cut back on O'Neill, and he finally done it. As O'Neill once again is looking for a move up the inside then, so these guys inseparable. Sam's got to take a compromised line, and O'Neill's going to have the run on him coming up to the Lesmos, but he hasn't quite got the legs this time around, as we're riding on board also with Battenberg and Ziege. Battenberg gets it wrong.
Yeah,
once again Battenberg is onto the gravel coming through there. So yeah, fantastic racing.
Yeah, fantastic racing, and it's certainly playing out to be car v car. It's proven to be AMG versus AMG and Ferrari versus Ferrari rather than the other way around, as we see O'Neill and Sam again pestering one another through Ascari. Sam absolutely taking all the care. Oh, and Marcus Hole has got himself a drive-through penalty in 12th position. That will see him tumble down to somewhere circa 18th or 19th, perhaps. As O'Neill and Sam's still out in the lead. O'Neill looking to pull a carbon copy move that Sam pulled. Can he get the same move done on Sam that Sam pulled on the previous lap? Hole then comes into the pits to serve his drive-through. Look at that slipstream take effect. Bit of a bump draft there. I'm not sure that's exactly done him the world of good. That's certainly given Sam the extra momentum to hold on to that corner. And Sam does duly and very neatly get himself through turn one. O'Neill makes a mistake there, so perhaps not the smartest move there, trying to bump draft time, and all he's done is leave himself in the attentions of, I believe that's Ivanusa behind him as Hole has just come out of the pit. So going for the bump draft there, and it definitely not paid off for him, Simon.
No, I think he was involved in a NASCAR race there rather than a GT3 race, but yeah, Sam's been able to pull a bit of a gap, and yeah, like you said, Ivanusa's now all over the back of O'Neill, and O'Neill's going to have his rearview mirrors full of another Mercedes rather than challenging Sam for that 12th place position.
Yeah, Sam holding another fantastic line through the Lesmos. O'Neill though certainly make amends for that. He's trying to leave Ivanusa behind. Tavernari, of course, another man trying to leave someone behind. He's trying to leave Jose Georges behind. George though still 2.3 seconds off of our race leader with 16 minutes to go, so you better believe the slightest mistake by either of these guys and that will be the race win sewn up. Such is the dominance they have at the moment, and I tell you, Jose is certainly putting in some unbelievable lap times at the moment. Of course, he pitted 3 laps later. Yeah, he's up about a second and a half on his lap time at the moment, or has taken a second and a half out with the lead on Tavernari, so absolutely blown that way back. He does have a bit of a help with the slipstream of a back marker there, so that will certainly not do him any harm. The back marker nicely getting out of the way. Of course, as I said, Georges did pit 3 laps later than
Sam's
Lucas.
got it all wrong. Sam's got it all wrong.
Oh, Sam's made a mistake into turn 1, so I was looking at the exit time there. Oh, he's gone through. Yep, completely missed the brakes for turn 1. Very respectfully there, waits and gives the position back to O'Neill, which, to be fair, can only be good for us. This will lead to another 15 minutes of heroic battle between these two guys, and even Noosa then will be rubbing his hands together. That's brought him well and truly back into play.
Well, I think that's Asta Baruga actually who's got past Ivanusa, so we missed that one, John.
Oh,
so I think it's Asta Baruga on the back of Sam.
Wow, so Asta Baruga, yes. So he has got the move done, has he? Ivanusa, let's confirm that with the car number. So he's got the move done then, so it is all change in the middle here. Sam now having to defend for all he's worth coming into Ascari. Will all 4 drivers in this little battle get Ascari done correctly? Ooh, pushing the track limits ever so slightly. The first 3 certainly make it through. O'Neill, Sue and Ivanusa. Asta Baruga then looks like he is still down in 15th position as they come round Parabolica. Of course, that is all drivers now done. Oh, and a bit of contact there from Sam. They're moving over. Yeah, moving over onto one another. They're closing the gap on O'Neill at a rapid rate of knots. So this is going to be very interesting going into turn 1 here. Heavy on the brakes.
Oh!
And even Noosa there. Ever so slightly keen. Even Noosa makes an absolute, I think we'll call that pig's ear of a mistake into that first chicane, and he's finding himself now in the 3rd position out of this group of 4 cars. Sam in spot 2 and O'Neill back up in spot 1. Asta Baruga, of course, still in close attendance and will be looking to get a move done, but the battle eternal between Battenberg and Ziga rages on once again, Simon. Less than 4 tenths between these 2 guys. Will we see Ziga pull a Sam TSR Wakey style move here as they come out the Parabolica? And the short answer to that would be no. Ziga runs his line slightly wrong, and Battenberg will live to fight in 7th for another lap by the looks of it.
Yeah, what I have noticed about Battenberg is he's struggling with the rear of that car. He's very slidey coming out the exits of these corners, and as Zeke just overshoots turn 1, that's going to allow Battenberg to really get away from him now. As I was just saying, that Battenberg was actually struggling to get a good exit off these corners, but now he's just got a bit of breathing space between himself and Zeke.
Yes, he does. A couple of guys in the chat, of course. Ziga, of course, known to his followers as Kylo Ren. I believe I'm not sure if he's YouTube or Twitch actually, but I know that is his name in the community. So yeah, a few Kylo Ren fans. Ziga will murder Battenberg when he tries to pass. Foch gives Jones a little nudge, but straightened him out. Lucky escape.
He's round. Ivanusa's round.
Oh.
Sam and Ivanusa are coming together once again.
There we go then. So that just shows you the intensity of the battle all the way down through these 32 drivers. Sam and Ivanusa having a coming together in turn 1. Sam certainly coming the worst off there and going to find himself tumbling down the grid order, unfortunately, as Ivanusa takes the place. And off he goes. Asta Baruga then did make it through that little barrage as well. And can we see where Sam is actually going to come out? So he's still holding in 13th at the moment, so he's only dropped a few places so far spread out as a field. It looks like he may be struggling with his back tyres there. Certainly don't want flat spots on your back tyres even with only 11 minutes to go. Definitely not a comfortable position, as we see Battenberg then looking to get the move done on Millard now. He has dispatched well and truly of Kylo or Ziga in 8th place. Gets the move done before turn 1. Both men looking to hold their brakes very, very, very closely. Ziga closing up then into turn 1, and Battenberg gets the move done, nice, clean and quickly, and finds himself up to 6th. Here we'll have a replay then of the incident involving Sam. Oh, gets a bit keen, a lot of contact on the back, moves out with a slipstream, goes round the outside and maybe turns in a bit much on Sam, do we think there, Simon? I'm going to say Sam didn't really have much room to move there, and Ivanusa perhaps turned in slightly too keen. What do we think?
Yeah, it's one of those racing incidents you can't really call who was at fault. There's one of those things that will be decided in the stewards room. I think they were just battling really hard, and they could have give each other a bit more space into turn 1, but as it turns out, one of those guys come out worse than the other, unfortunately.
As is so often the case, that is one of the many downfalls of the sport that we love. It can take the mere tiniest of misjudgments to cause what can often be a fairly spectacular outcome and ending. Someone that's looking to carry on the competition with a spectacular ending is, of course, look at Tavernari, 2 seconds in the lead at the front of the pack. He's been our pole sitter in the last 2 races. He's hitting the 1 minute 47. Oh, as we see Georges pushing for all his worth in the background, going through the Lesmos, and that must be tantalising, Simon, after the result in the first race, to see Tavernari so close in front of him. It must be difficult not to push for all your worth to try and catch up and close that gap, and put in a challenge here to take a win in the SOP EVO Challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Tavernari hasn't got the 20-second lead that he had at Mazzano in round number 1. Jose's tried to keep him as honest as possible, but he just hasn't had that final bit of pace that's needed to try and close up to the back of Tavernari. But I'm sure Jose's going to be ecstatic with bringing this car home in 2nd place if he can keep it on the tarmac. Maltarek currently sitting in 3rd place. He took 3rd in that opening round and he sits 3rd now, so he's looking good for another 3rd place finish. Foch is some 6 seconds behind, so that's your top 4 with Jones there in 5th, the only Mercedes driver in the top 8.
Yes, indeed. So the Ferrari dominance absolutely in full effect here at Monza, even more so than it was evident. Oh, and that is a bit of a messy one. Oh, and he's collected 1-2 extra cars there, unfortunately. And that has absolutely left Sean Buck in the number 22 Mercedes in a bit of a mess there. He was the unwitting bystander and collected by a spinning Mercedes just out the 2nd Lesmo there. So that is definitely going to put paid number 787. Of course, the car he was involved in, that is Babaluel. So his race at Monza going from, quite frankly, bad to horrendous, I would say, Simon.
Yeah, one of those drivers that just hasn't had it his own way today. He's just fallen down the order as the race has gone on, and you just have those types of races. You just have those types of days where just nothing seems to go right for you.
Indeed, and talking of the opposite, oh, so what's Sam then? Sam, oh no, it's not Sam, sorry, I do apologise. Is that Sam? No, it's someone driving in the same livery as Sam.
No, the 666 machine is on board with Liguston.
Yeah, Liguston, yes, so it is Liguston we're on board with. I was looking at the timing there, oh, he is looking to get a move done, so Liguston, so that's McKenna then. Looking to get the move done, going into turn 1. Oh, and he's missed the brake zone. I would say the aerodynamic damage on the front of that, oh, that's not going to be helpful. The aerodynamic damage on the front of that Mercedes certainly will not be helping his braking, as we see a blue flag situation there. The Liguston then is about to get swamped by a couple of competitors here. 4 cars lining up, and also in the back we see the race leader, Simon. So that is the race leader coming into 4 cars, 2 of whom are fighting for position. 2 of them are being blue flagged. So Monza providing all kinds of chaos, and I've never quite seen The pit wall timing belts light up like this with so many different colours in the one place at the one time. So the race leader then looking to make his way through, having to cut himself onto the grass. We've got Georges in the back then in second position, flashing his lights for all his worth, trying to get himself through this pack of drivers that are battling for top 15 positions themselves. Of course, the race leaders looking to get through and get the job done. This could give us an absolute grandstand finish here, Simon, given how close position 1 and position 2 now are after this interaction with this group of solid back markers here.
Yeah, absolutely. These back markers are causing havoc for Tabanari right now, and the gap's down to 1.4 seconds currently before they cross the line. I'm sure it's going to be closer than that, but look how close Jose is right onto the back of Tabanari now. 4 minutes remaining. Any back marker is going to cause an upset here today.
Yeah, I think they may well. Look at, it's got another back marker coming into turn 1. It should leave plenty of room for him to get through. Oh, he has to get himself a bit of curb. And, they've made contact. The back markers made contact with Jose Georges, who had closed up the gap by almost a second, 1.4 seconds. He was off the back, and that has caused himself some pretty serious problems. It's Ligreston, I think, the man who has caused the issue there. As we see a group of guys, Humphrey, McKenna, Gantus in the background as a race leaders, position 1 and 2. Got up in all kinds of problems with the back marker, Simon, there, and that could certainly have an effect on the outcome of the race here.
Yeah, I think it was too close for comfort for Tabanari then, but he seems to have negotiated that group of Mercedes drivers there. So
yeah, I think he has. As we see, Chris Humphries, of course, the other driver that was involved there, one of the back markers that was involved with the race leader. These guys are still fighting for position themselves. As we see another driver blue flag their way past. I was going to touch on Stefan van Hal, actually, Simon. We were talking earlier about drivers whose races have gone from bad to worse. One driver whose race has certainly gone from bad to much better is, of course, Stefan van Hal. There we go. We're going to get a replay here. So, yeah, the race leader coming into turn 1 with the back marker. The back marker did indicate and then hang his car in a very awkward position. Came back on, caught another car, caught the number 33, who is, of course, Asta Borrega, who was, of course, involved in incidents earlier. So Asta Borrega then was out of position, trying to blue flag his way past the car in 24th position, who was currently being flagged by the car in 2nd position, all at turn 1 at Monza. We did say before the race started, expect fireworks in turn 1. I didn't quite expect 24th position, 10th position and 2nd position to be caught in a 4-way battle as we come along the back straight. Again, there is another group of cars surrounding our race top 10. Ziga this time looking to catch up on Jones. Ziga, of course, quite a few of his fans in the chat, Kylo Ren fans, so welcome along, guys. There is your man on screen in the Ferrari, guiding it around comfortably in the top 10, looking to catch up to Jones in the Mercedes. In fact, he's got the job done. He has got the job done, so he's up to 6th place. So he got the job done coming round the Parabolica, coming into turn 1. He'll be looking to close that gap up to Battenberg. He is a fair bit off. He does have quite a few back markers there to deal with. That is, of course, Klokkanovsky in 20th position ahead of him, so he'll be looking to use that slipstream. So the back marker certainly, Simon, can be a double-edged sword on most tracks, on Monza especially. If you get caught up with them, it's really not so great. But slipstream, as we can see here, Daniel Jose Georges trying desperately to catch the race leader, gets himself an extra bit of slipstream into turn 1, and that could be the key to him closing the gap with a minute to go.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that back marker situation. It's such a horrible position to be in. when you're being blue flagged but also involved in your own race with a bunch of drivers on track. And there's nothing worse than having the leaders coming around trying to get past you as a back marker, but you're also trying to defend your position because you're actually racing with the guys around you. It's just one of those horrible positions you never like to be in.
Yeah, no, and it is, I can certainly testify a position that I'm in quite a lot, given that I am often found to be a back marker in races that I take part in. So yeah, I do know there is nothing worse than battling out for a top 15, a top 10 position when the race podium are trying to get their way through nice and cleanly. Getting through nice and cleanly, Millard then.
Yeah, you can see Millard's got some damage on the front end of that Ferrari, and he's slowly just dropping back through the field. He was running in the top 4 or 5 position, I think he was, and he's just slowly dropped back down to 8th as we see Chris Jones come into the pits then. So I'm wondering if he's just underfueled right at the end of the race. He's pitted on the very final lap.
He has then, perhaps some damage. I did want to touch on that as well, Sir Fosh earlier. We did think he'd pitted quite early. I wonder if he was perhaps running a low fuel load to start the race, because he did carve his way through the field fairly spectacularly at the start of the race, as Tavernari then comes across the line to comfortably win the race 2. Comfortably win race 2 of the PC Evo Challenge. Georges takes second place with Malcherek looking to bring it home for third, and Sir Fosh, one of my ones to watch as a commentator. Obviously you get to pick 2, so I picked 2, and Sir Fosh was my man to watch and did make big moves. Qualified outside the top 10, finds himself up in 4th place as we watch Malcherek come round Parabolica for the last time. So 2 weeks on the trot, Malcherek finds himself finishing on a podium position, so absolutely putting in a strong showing. 2 weeks on the trot. As I mentioned, Sir Fosh then finishes in 4th with Battenberg. Battled his way through the field, had some extended battles with Kylo Ren, got the better of those, finds himself up to 5th. Ziga will round out the race in 6th with Millard in 7th. Heish looks like he's comfortably going to take 8th place with Stefan Van Hal. Got to give him extra props. Had an absolute, let's face it, Simon, nightmare opening couple of laps, especially in turn 1, and he's got himself back up to 9th place. So that is an unbelievable recovery drive there from Stefan.
Yeah, that was a good recovery drive from Stefan to find himself up into 9th. I think he was down way down into the 20th position or something, right along those lines. But yeah, that was a fantastic race around Monza, and that was your top 3: Tavernari, followed by Jose, followed by Malcherek. So fantastic racing indeed.
Yeah, that really was. And as we said, last week's podium was, of course, Tavernari, Sir Foch and Christian Malcherek. And Malcherek again finds himself up in about the business end, getting the moves done. We're having a look at the best lap in the race was set by Jose Georges. So there we go. Look at Tavernari only. Oh no, sorry. So the best lap, I do apologise. Look at Tavernari did finish with the fastest lap of the race, 146.992. We had another slight technical issue. It's nice to know that SimGrid occasionally have the same technical issues that your poor old Uncle Raven has over on SOP's Twitch channel. Big thanks again. Before we'll have a quick round up, big thank you again once again to Michael for hosting us on SimGrid. Big thank you to Mike in the background for what is quite unbelievable camera work. And here we have final results from round 2 of the SOP PC Evo Challenge. That is as difficult to say as you might think. Tavernari then makes it 2 for 2, not only in the race but also in qualifying. We will have Imola, so we'll see how he plays out and how that plays out for him in the Ferrari. Will be fascinating to watch. Jose Georges then making moves, finished 4th last week, definitely improves on that with a 2nd place this week, and thanks to some back markers, will be thinking himself quite unfortunate not to have put in a closer battle at the end. for first. Malchirek, as is, finished third last week, takes third this week. So fantastic performance for him. And Sir Foch, of course, finished qualified outside the top 10. He finished second last week, finds himself in fourth this week. So when we get the points adjusted, he will be there or thereabouts and looking to make moves next week. Certainly, Ziga, of course, in sixth, had that never-ending battle with Battenberg, who finished in fifth. Mallarge, H, and Van Hal, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Of course, Van Hal, bit of a nightmare at the start of the race in turn 1, lap 1 and 2. Got his together, got himself sorted out, and got himself into the top 10. So it just shows you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get the head down and anything can happen. So of course he finished in 9th, Lambrecht in 10th, Jones in 11th with O'Neill in 12th, Sam battled all the way to the end in 13th, Ivanusa in 14th, Asta Barrega finished in 15th with King McGee qualified in the top 10, had a bit of a nightmare start to the race, found themselves involved in incidents. His pit stop didn't work for him, down in 16th place with Hole in 17th. Solcrum moves up a few places to finish in 18th with Buck, Sean Buck finishing in 19th place, and 20th taken by Klokkanovsky. Let's hope I got that one right this time. Omar was in 21st with Ligreston in 22nd. Paul McKenna, well done kid, thanks for joining SOP a couple of weeks ago, signing up for your first event and seeing out the first two races. We'll see you again next week, definitely. Humphreys in 24th, Gantus 25th, Boychuk took 26th position. Babaluel definitely making the headlines during this race, find himself in 28th, Bertoglio in 29th, Plots in 30th, and Phillips and Egan, I do believe, both retired due to damage. Simon, Monza never fails to deliver excitement, action, carnage, breathless commentators. It's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic racing today. Aside from those first 2 laps where it was filled with incidents, you could say it was a fantastic race to watch, a fantastic race to commentate on. We had battles right through the field, right till the very end of this race.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And there we go. Some replays of some of the action there. Of course, the Ferrari EVO 2020 at its spiritual home, holding off the advances of the German-built Mercedes AMG. I'm sure the Tifosi will be on their feet in applause. So, another week in the bag. We will bring you the championship. That was, of course, week 2 of the SOP PC EVO Challenge. I'm John Wright, and I was joined tonight by Simon Baggas, of course, our founding father at SOP. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Simon. Did you enjoy the night and the race?
Yeah, it was fantastic, John. Thank you so much for leading the commentary as always.
Yeah, absolutely a pleasure as always. Thank you to everyone that watched in. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you, Michael at SimGrid. Thank you, Mike, for doing the cameras. And especially thank you to all the drivers that take part. Without you, we wouldn't have these events. If you want to get involved, of course, SOP Motorsport on Discord. You could find yourself on track with these guys. I'm off now to look at the 3 foot of snow out my window with a hot chocolate and wonder how long it'll be before the rescue trucks get here. I hope you all stay safe and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. So it's a very good night from Simon.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's a very good night from me as well. Thanks very much for watching. Good night.